Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Ink Drinkers. I'm Natalie.
And I'm Erica.
On today's episode, we will be discussing Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. As always, this is not a family-friendly podcast, and there will be spoilers.
Now let's jump right in with a summary of Boyfriend Material for any listeners who haven't read the book or anyone who might need a refresher.
Wanted. One fake boyfriend, practically perfect in every way. Luke O'Donnell... Oh no, I should have practiced this. I'm going to skip that word. Is reluctantly famous. His rock star parents split when he... Don't laugh at me. When he was young, and the father he's never met spent the next 20 years cruising in and out of rehab. Now that his dad's making a comeback, Luke back into the public eye, and one compromising photo is enough to ruin everything. To clean up his image, Luke has to find a nice, normal relationship. And Oliver Blackwood is as nice and normal as they come. He's a barrister and an ethical vegetarian, and he's never inspired a moment of scandal in his life. In other words, perfect boyfriend material. Unfortunately, apart from being gay, single, and really, really in need of a date for a big event, Luke and Oliver have nothing in common. So they strike a deal to be publicity-friendly fake boyfriends until the dust has settled. Then they can go their separate ways and pretend it never happened. But the thing about fake dating is that it can feel a lot like real dating, and that's when you get used to someone, start falling for them, and don't ever want to let them go.
All right. So, first impressions of this book, how do you feel?
My first impression of this book was that it was really funny, and I also felt a lot of empathy and secondhand embarrassment for Luke.
Oh, yes.
It was rough in the beginning. I felt so embarrassed for him.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much every step of the way.
Yeah. He's awkward. Because he's used...
Painfully.
Yeah, painfully awkward. Because he's so used to just people, I think, letting him down and embarrassing him.
Mm-hmm. Or so expecting something out of him that he doesn't want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he just makes things very awkward and in an attempt to push people away.
Yeah.
It was rough.
I
had to pause a couple times during the first few bits because I was so embarrassed for him. I was like, oh no, honey.
That first scene when he's in the club and he's talking to that guy and like it starts off really awkward and then he like recovers from it and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be fine.
It's gonna be fine. And then he shot it straight in the face and I was like, oh,
to the point where
God.
he had to leave. Like, he didn't even see any of his friends that he was there for or anything like that. Like, he just really...
He just dipped. Like, he was like, I'm out.
Yeah, he was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back to my apartment and cry there.
That was rough.
And he did, too.
Yeah.
Except for he, passed out on side. No, he fell. He didn't
tripped.
pass out.
Yeah, he tripped.
But the papers made it seem like he was passed out on the sidewalk because he tripped and fell.
Of course, because, that's what sells... that's what sells.
Yeah, that's what sells papers anywhere.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't matter if you're in the UK or America or wherever.
Yeah.
If you're acting stupid,
people famous or semi-famous or, in his case, a child of a celebrity, like, that's what's going to sell is them messing up, not, anything that they've done right.
And what's worse, too, is, like, I feel like it shouldn't be as bad for him because his parents, neither one of them are like major celebrities. Like they even say that later on that that his parents are like C-list celebrities.
Yeah.
So really like
I would feel so much resentment. You know, the fact that his father was never in his life, but he's under such scrutiny because of who his father is. It's really not even because of who his mother is, despite the fact that his mother was a famous rock star too. It's all basically because of his dad. I would feel so much resentment for having my life just torn apart by people that I don't know just because
my dad is a little famous.
Yeah. But decided to bounce.
Yeah.
Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah. I feel like I would get mad and tell the paparazzi that at some point. Be like, listen, my dad doesn't care about me. Why do you?
Yeah.
Like,
oh, that would have made major headlines.
Yeah, but also I feel like it probably would have worked a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the whole world knows that his dad doesn't care about him. It's not like it's a secret.
Yeah, for sure.
And when his dad came back, that really had me fucked up. I was really so mad that entire time.
Yeah, I was too.
And especially when I don't know. I just found the whole situation so disrespectful. Like, he thought he had cancer, so he was like, oh, let me be friends with my kid, and then made him drive, what was it, like 4 hours to come see him, ignores him the entire time, and then decides to come at Oliver sideways when Oliver gets in his face about it. Like, no. And then he was like, oh, how about you leave, because this is a conversation between me and my son. And Oliver was like, actually, no. This is a conversation between me and you now.
You don't get to call him your son when you dipped when he was, what, 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That's not how that works. No. Especially if someone, man, and that, classic parental figure move to get defensive and tell somebody's partner or friend, support person to leave the situation when that person stands up for the son, daughter that the parental figure is trying to manipulate and abuse.
Yeah. Because he saw that Oliver was seeing him, and he was like, no, I need to be able to control this situation.
Exactly. And he knew Oliver was calling him out, and absolutely. He wanted to control the situation and be able to manipulate Luke.
Yeah.
And Oliver wasn't having it.
And props to Oliver, too, for not allowing that to happen, and being like, no, actually, I'm here now, and you're not going to talk to him like that.
Yeah, 100%. He's a good fake real boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
They're super cute together.
They're super cute.
I love their whole hate, talk shit about you type of thing that they have going.
Yeah, I do too. And I love how they go into it as fake boyfriends, right? But you can see immediately that Luke has feelings. Like, because they go to dinner with Alex, and they're supposed to be, whatever. But Luke immediately is butthurt that, like, Oliver's not paying attention to him. And he's like, to the point where he makes an ass of himself, being like, why aren't you paying attention to me? And then has to, like, go to the bathroom to, like, pull himself together and be like, oh, sorry. And then comes back and is too awkward to apologize. And then they finally leave, and he's like, why didn't you talk to me the whole time? And Oliver's like, what? Like, Oliver was just over here trying so hard to impress his friend, because as much as Luke hates Alex and, like, talks shit on him all the time, they're friends.
Yeah, for sure.
They're friends.
And I think it was a combination of Luke not liking that Oliver, like, wasn't paying attention to him, and also that Oliver was getting along so well with Alex. Yeah. Because Luke and Alex don't know how to communicate with each other whatsoever. No. Luke communicates like a normal person, and Alex is like on a whole nother level that doesn't make any sense. No. And I feel like Luke took it personally that Oliver was able to understand Alex, but Luke can't understand Alex. Yeah. That was...
Which I feel the same way. Like, I don't understand Alex either.
I found that really interesting because obviously their interactions are really funny. I found the book really funny, full of like our type of sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that stuck out to me was how it was very full of like British terminology.
Yeah.
And it went, a good bit of it went straight over my head. I was like, I don't know what this means.
Oh, no.
I, like, had to look some of it up. I was like, what is like, I knew that it was funny, and, like, I could tell what it was about, you know, from context clues and whatnot, but I was like, I don't, like, fully get it, because I've never...
We don't know any
British people, so I don't know, like, their jargon.
Yeah.
And all of that stuff. And so, Alex just... I couldn't tell if Luke was the stupid one or if Alex was the stupid one. I was like, someone here is dumb and not getting it, and I can't tell
I think they're both stupid to each other. Like, I feel like Alex makes sense, like, to Alex, and Luke makes sense to Luke, but to each other, they don't make sense.
Like, the whole joke situation that they have going on, how it's tradition, basically, for Luke to tell Alex a joke every morning when he comes into the office.
Yeah.
And Luke's jokes are funny.
Yeah.
And Alex just picks them apart, and he acts like he doesn't understand them, but he picks it apart
so perfectly. There's no way he
kind of wonder if he's trolling Luke.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's
picking
it apart to troll Luke.
I think Luke is trolling Alex, and Alex is trolling Luke back, being like, I don't get it. What do you mean? And then Luke is like,
the whole how do you get two whales?
Yeah. And he gives, like, specific directions.
Yes, and he, of course, Luke was talking about, like, the animals, whales. It was something like, how do you get two whales in a car? In a car? Or, like, it was like a Cooper, like a Mini Cooper. Yeah. It was very specific.
Yeah.
But then Alex thought he was talking about how do you get to Wales, the place.
Yeah.
And giving those hyper-specific directions, and then he was like, oh, but I don't know, because I'm not from there, but Reese is from there.
Yeah.
And then he pulls Reese in from another room, and Reese gives the exact same directions. Yes. That was...
And then poor Luke is just sitting there.
Perfection.
Yeah, and then poor Luke is just sitting there like,
what did I get myself into?
Yeah, he just has to, like, cut his losses and walk away.
He's like, all right. He's like, can this end now? Because I'm done here.
Yeah, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm actually gonna go back to work now because this is worse.
And I wonder if, because Reese is kind of on the same level as Alex.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, like, low-key, do Alex and Reese have, like, after-work meetings? Like, do they, like,
they have,
plan
like, parking lot powwows?
Yeah.
Talking about Luke.
They're like, all right, so...
Oh my God,
what was his joke today?
Hilarious.
You know, Reese asking Alex, what was his joke today? All right, so tomorrow...
Okay.
This is what we're gonna say. Like, I wonder if they...
That's hilarious. I feel like they would, too.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
They go to a club and have super fancy dinners with their super fancy... girlfriends and talk about how to troll Luke.
That's so funny. I bet
I would. I know I would.
I like that. I really appreciate that there's so much character development in Luke, because he really starts off as somebody that doesn't care about anybody, including himself. Like, his self-esteem is so low. The only person he actually cares anything about is his mother.
Yeah.
And then he's like, all of his friends and stuff, like, he's rude to all of them because of that. And they know that he's a good person, and so they stick around.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's really nice to see Oliver change him, and him change for Oliver, and be like, you know, kind of start to care more about other people. But I love that they, like, keep the humor throughout that, though. Like, I love that, that one girl in his office that they only talk through email. They have this whole fight about booking the hotel because she deals with the money. And he's like, no, book the hotel. And she's like, well, do we have to? And he's like, yes, book the hotel. And then he goes to get coffee and somehow gets roped into getting coffee for everyone. And he takes the time to be like, I should reach out a hand to her. We just had a fight. And emails her, I'm getting coffee for everyone. Do you want any? But also, I appreciate the fact that she was like, no. And didn't say anything else. She was like, fuck you. Absolutely fuck you.
Email.
Yeah. Which makes sense because, like,
Yeah,
she doesn't
absolutely.
care. She doesn't care about his character development, especially after they were just bickering about some things.
Yeah.
I love that she was like, no.
And Luke even said they only talk through email. So she would have absolutely no idea, most likely, what was going on with him, the situation he was in.
But they
or, like,
only
what
talk
was-
through email because they mutually don't like each
Yeah.
other, too. So I feel like it makes perfect sense for her to be like, no.
Yeah, for
and then
sure.
just leave it like that. And I feel like that was good for him, too, to be like, to realize that, like, just because you're improving and trying to better yourself doesn't mean that everybody is going to respond to that. Like, there's still going to there's still going to be people that you're still going to have issues with, and that doesn't mean that you, like, revert back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's going to be people who don't give a shit that you're trying to better yourself.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot that went into that scene. You got to see a lot of character development, but also they kept the humor and the sarcasm and everything that makes the book so good as well.
Mm-hmm, for sure. There was, I feel like, a lot of character development for a fairly short book.
Oh, yeah.
I was really proud of Luke. And proud of Oliver, too.
I feel
Just from what...
I have mixed feelings about Oliver right now. I'm less proud of him than I am of Luke.
I'm with you on that. Here's my problem. I don't understand how... Yes, I do. My problem is that I do understand what I'm trying to talk about. Okay, so he stands up to Luke's father for Luke.
Yeah.
But then when his own family is blatantly abusing him, he does not see it, and he gets
being gay the punchline to a joke.
And he gets mad at Luke for what he thinks is talking badly about his family.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know what the technical term for it is, but it's such classic behavior from someone who has been conditioned to accept their abuse, to make excuses for their abusers, especially when those people are your family. How he was like, oh, my mom gave up so much for us, and you can't talk badly about her because of it. But then his mom is absolutely terrible to him.
Terrible.
Was she the one who made the comment about him gaining weight?
Yeah.
She was like, if you gain too much weight, you won't... It was something stupid when the man is incredibly fit.
Yeah.
Has a V cut that is talked about more than once.
Yeah.
Is not even a little bit fat.
Mm-mm.
And it's so much...
His mom is low-key worse than his dad because at least his dad will straight up do it, like, to his face, whereas his mom tries to, like, keep it on the down low and try to act like that's not what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, you're being a piece of shit. And I feel like this happens a lot with people with, like, mommy issues specifically for some reason, but also just, like, people that have, like, close families yet have been abused. They're always making excuses for their family because they're like, oh, well, I had a good life. You know, like, I always had nice things. I was always fed, things like that. And it's like, that doesn't mean that you weren't treated poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, your family can love you and care about you and also be very abusive. Because I think his mom does love him. But she absolutely does not accept him for who he is.
No, absolutely not.
And those two things don't go together. Like, yes, you were loved, but you were also abused because you weren't accepted. And that's not okay.
And abused by the way that they talk to him.
Yeah.
It's not unconditional love that his parents specifically were showing to him.
Mm-hmm.
It was very conditioned. The love that they were willing to give was conditioned on the fact that he shouldn't have been a lawyer. He should have been a doctor.
Yep.
Was conditioned on the fact that his brother was the golden child, and they absolutely pitted the two brothers against each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why they have such a rocky relationship, is because they were constantly pitted against each other, and they don't recognize that at all. I recognize that, like, right off the bat.
And his brother's wife recognizes it.
Yes, but they don't recognize it. And it's like, wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Yeah. It's not a you versus him thing. Like, it should never be a sibling versus sibling thing.
No.
And their love was also conditioned on his physical appearance. Like, his mom criticized his blue shirt.
Yeah.
You know blue isn't your color. Excuse me.
Like, first of all, the man is hot. Okay, they spend the entire book talking about how hot this man is. He can wear whatever color shirt he wants to. Thank you. Like, the fact that somebody that... Because up until the point where you see him interact with his parents, which is the majority of the book, he's always very calm, collected, confident, and it's crazy to me that he's this, like, so confident in what he does and who he is as a person, and then the day that they're going to meet his parents, he changes his shirt 6 different times, and is, like, shows up like 2 hours early and is like sweating by the time they get there. Like,
it's a complete unraveling.
Yeah, and it's not and it's so far out of his like normal behavior. Like, he's not just a little bit stressed, he's maxed out. Like, he's on level 10, and even Luke is like, I don't really know.
He doesn't understand it all, and I felt so bad for Luke, because Luke was completely blindsided. He got to know this person who, like you said, was just cool, calm, collected. He was so put together, and looking back on it, you can tell it's him being controlling. It's that control that he probably never had as a child. And it's the control that he is just holding on to for dear life now as an adult.
Yeah.
But just loses that. And that was really hard. It was really hard. It was really unfair for Luke. And I know, like, for me specifically, it was really hard to get through that part.
Yeah, me too.
It was rough.
And I feel so bad for Luke because of how blindsided he was, because he wouldn't even, like, Oliver wouldn't even talk about his family before that. He was just like, oh yeah, my brother's a doctor, and just like was like, why do you need to know information about them, and like all this other stuff,
which should have been
Luke
a red flag.
Like, yeah, but poor Luke, he was just like, well, I just want to like impress them and everything else, and then they get there, and then he looks his parents straight in the face and goes, I don't mean to say fuck you, but fuck you.
And good for Luke for standing up for Oliver, because no one deserves to be treated like that, especially by their family.
And also, like, he could have said that to his parents and then left right then when his dad told him to, but I like that he made a point to, in front of his parents, look Oliver in his face and say, you are amazing, you don't deserve this, nothing is wrong with you, and I hope that you can realize that.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that was really good for him to have, like, that moment. And that moment is the most confident that we've seen Luke too, and I think it was I feel like it was a great time for that to happen, for Luke to find his confidence when Oliver's is crumbling.
Yes,
I feel like that
Oliver
was really
absolutely needed him at that moment, and Luke definitely came through. And I also like how we got to see that whole situation, and it was very serious and emotional, but then humor is added at the end, where Luke, instead of walking out like a normal person, just sprints. Yes. He doesn't just leave. No. He runs out of there, and then he's like, oh my god, someone's behind me.
Yes. Because even though he had the confidence to do that, because even though he had the confidence to do that, his self-esteem is still so low that I feel like afterwards he was like
like having a panic attack, like, oh god, what did I just do?
You know, he was sweating profusely, and it was not from running, and he was like, I gotta get out of here. And then Oliver is just like semi walking fast behind him, like, hold on.
That was so fantastic.
And then it brings it back to Luke being so awkward too when they get in the car and Oliver's like recklessly driving and Luke's like holding on for dear life and then Oliver's just like fuck it, pulls over, starts bawling, and then Luke is like doesn't know what to do.
Over and like patted him.
Yeah, it talks about that too because he's like going through the options of what to do and he's like, okay, I could hug him, but we're in a car, so there's not space. So really, the only thing that I can do is do the never been helpful to anyone ever shoulder pat. And so he just pats him on the shoulder the whole time. He was just like bawling his eyes out, and then afterwards, I love how Oliver's just like, sorry you had to see that, and Luke is like, what?
Which part?
Yeah. Luke's like, dude, you see me cry like more than a few times at this point. Like, I think we're good.
We've broken up through a bathroom door at that. Like, it's okay.
Door. And then when I went back to you to apologize, I then had to do it through a different bathroom door because I could not say it to your face because it was too hard.
Oh, man, that was
Which,
rough.
can we normalize that?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes...
That would have been real helpful for me at, like, multiple points in my life to be able to be like, yo, can I just step into the bathroom and say it to the door?
Yes, because saying something to somebody, especially when you're not used to expressing your emotions and things like that, like, Luke's not used to doing that. He keeps himself so locked up that he's, you know, he doesn't tell anybody when anything's wrong. He just, like, acts like everything's fine, whatever. Yeah. He doesn't express any of his insecurities. But he knows that Oliver deserves that, which is why he goes to give that to him. And then he comes face to face with him, and it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
And so he just tells him, like, hey, can I use your bathroom? Can we have this conversation through the bathroom? Because I want to tell you this, but saying it while I'm looking at you is scary.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's just so funny to think about that. To think about, you know, just talking to someone through a door.
Yeah. It definitely is awkward and funny, but you know what? If that's what helps somebody, then that's what helps someone.
And I absolutely love that Luke had that character development of being like, you know what, this person is worth it. And I, you know, don't want to mess whatever this is up, and he deserves an apology, and I want to give it to him. Like, that was very mature of Luke and very stepping out of his box for him.
And I appreciate that Oliver let him do that too, because there are a lot of people that would have been like, no, you can just say it to me.
Yeah.
But I like that Oliver also then forced him to have more character development, because after Luke said all of that and came out of the bathroom and they were talking, you know, they got a little bit more serious again, and Luke was like, can I go back to the bathroom? And Oliver said no.
Yeah.
He was like, no, you already did that. We're past that now.
Yeah.
And I like that he did that. I like that he made him feel comfortable and then was like, no, now you have to step out of your comfort zone again and
you're not
do
gonna move backwards like that.
Because can you imagine every time you have a serious conversation with somebody being like, can I go to the bathroom? No. And that's good too. That's good that he did that, because that's not sustainable. That's not realistic to be able to keep doing. And Luke even said, I want to eventually be able to say this to your face, but I can't right now. And so Oliver said, okay, and then later made him. He was like, you said that you wanted to say it to me, so that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, that recognition and the compassion that was shown was really good and really special, and I liked to see that.
And it was especially so good, too, because at that time, like, Luke had just broken up with him. In a very poor way, refused to talk to him about what was bothering him, proceeded to curl into a ball on the bathroom floor and cry. Like, Oliver did not owe that to him.
Yeah, not at all. Luke treated him like crap. Yeah. Because of his own...
And Oliver even said, like, I feel like you would, like, I thought you would respect me more than to do this to me. Yeah. And Luke said, I told you this is what you get with me.
Yeah. And it's not so much that Luke didn't have the respect for Oliver, it's that Luke didn't have the respect for Luke.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, he let one little thing just unravel his whole night. Yeah. Which was supposed to be, like, a really good night at that.
And it was up until that point.
Like, and, like, it wasn't worth it. But at the same time, I definitely connected with that, because he just has been beaten down by so many people in his life. Yeah. That he was like, oh, great, this is just, like, another thing you know, for people to judge me by. And I think he was also worried about how it would affect his job.
Yeah.
Because that's, you know, how he got into this whole situation in the first place, is because, you know, his boss threatened him, you know, any more bad publicity and you're done.
Yeah.
So I think that was definitely a major, like, freak out moment for him. But he progressed so nicely after that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I really love that afterwards they both called in to work.
Yes, yeah. They took the time to spend together.
And to also, like, come down from all of those emotions, because that was a very eventful day for Luke. There was a lot of emotions going on that day. He had a whole panic attack. First of all, doing anything after you have a panic attack is hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard. You're so exhausted physically from just... Like, you're so exhausted mentally that you are also exhausted physically.
Yeah.
Like, it wears you completely out. And I like that, you know, they wake up in the morning or whatever, and Luke is like, oh, you're going to be tired for work. And he said, well, I'm not in court, so I wasn't really planning on going in.
Yeah.
And I just love that he just, like, he didn't really, like, he wasn't even planning on addressing it if Luke hadn't said anything. He was just going to not go.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that for both of them. I like that they took that time to kind of recoup from everything that had happened the night before and kind of, like, get themselves back together instead of just being like, oh, okay, everything's fine, going to work like nothing had happened previously.
Yeah, exactly. This book was so full of Luke's character development. I wonder if the next book is going to be focused on Oliver and Oliver's character development, because it was so heavy on Luke.
Yeah.
And then there at the end, we got a glimpse into Oliver with his family situation. And the book was ended so abruptly.
Yes. I thought, okay, so I'm very happy that there's going to be a second book, because I thought this was a standalone, and I was honestly pissed.
I was too.
I was so mad.
I was like, we invested so much time into this character, both of these characters, in their relationship, and seeing Luke develop so well, and then it was just cut short.
Yeah.
Like, it felt very cut short.
Yeah.
And I was like, they deserve better.
Yeah, they deserve better. And also, I feel like Oliver needed to work harder to get back into that relationship. Because Luke tried. Like, he drove as far as he did to try to get him, realized that he wasn't there, went to his house. Yeah, 5 hours. Came back, went to his house, unwillingly. Like, his friends just kicked him out of the car at his house.
Yep.
And then he still had that conversation with him, like, hey, I know we're broken up, but I'm here and I'm trying, and now it's time for you to do your bit.
Yeah,
like, because we're obviously supposed to, he's like, we're obviously supposed to be together, like, we both know that. And then Oliver just walked away from him, and then just let him have that shit of a night, and then came back early as fuck the next morning, dressed for work, and was like, oh, you're actually right. Like, yeah, I fucking know that, dude. That's why I showed up at your house. That's why I drove 5 hours to try to get you from wherever you were/weren't.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just feel like the fact that Luke really put himself out there, and Oliver saw that and was just like, no. I feel like that was so rude.
It was, but I also think it's a very accurate representation of, no matter how much we recover and how hard we work, how being faced with a difficult situation with people who have treated us badly can make us, unravel everything.
Oh yeah, because he was obviously unraveled.
Because none of that would have happened, obviously, if they hadn't gone to his parents' anniversary party. But being faced with that stressful situation and his parents just demolishing him, you know, and having
to the realization too that his parents are abusive, because I don't think he realized until Luke said something that he was being abused.
He absolutely did not, and I really don't think even at the end of the book he fully realized at all. I think he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And I really hope that we see that work in the next book, Husband Material.
Yeah.
Because it definitely, as much as I love them, their relationship won't work unless Oliver,
Yeah, unless Oliver gets help and Luke continues to grow the way that he is. Because that's one of the reasons that I was so pissed that it ended so abruptly, too, because now they've fake/real broken up twice and real broken up once, and then it just ends with, them just, like, sitting on the porch together and Luke taking Oliver back, and I'm like, it just... So I thought it was going to be a standalone, so I was like, I need more information, because right now, to me, it just seems like it's going to turn into one of those toxic breakup, get back together relationships, and I like them both so much that I don't want that for either of them. Like, I want them to have good, healthy relationships because they both deserve that.
Yeah.
But seeing their history already and how things have started, I was like, this really isn't looking up for them.
Yeah.
And then it just, like... I don't know. It just left it open for too many questions. So I'm really glad that there's going to be a second book, and hopefully, like, all of those questions get answered.
Yes. When I saw the announcement for the second book, I was like, that makes the ending for Boyfriend Material makes so much more sense, because it was, on one hand, I felt like it was a cliffhanger ending, as much as, like, you can make a romance a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I kind of felt like the author wasn't really sure how to end it. And so just kind of
was like,
cut
okay,
it
I'm
off.
done now.
Yeah, it was just, exactly. Okay, I'm done now. And that was that. And that was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm made of questions. This isn't okay.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
I demand answers.
Where is the Instagram/Twitter/ how can I get a hold of this author so that I can ask all these 10,000 questions? Is really how I felt. I was like, also, can we talk about the fact that Alexis Hall is a man?
Oh my gosh, I felt so bad because you hear the name Alexis.
And you assume.
And I think it's default to assume, a woman.
Yeah.
And so when I was looking, because I look for, like, the authors that we talk about on like, Twitter and Instagram, so that I can, like, follow them back and interact with them and whatnot. And so when I found him on Instagram, I was like, oh no. I felt so bad that I just assumed that it was a woman.
Yeah, so the about the author is, like, on the very, like, last page.
It
like,
does not give a lot of information on the author at all.
No, but it does say, like, him. And I was like, I read that and I was like, oh.
Oops.
Yeah, but low-key, okay, this is fucking rude. But I was so I read the about the author immediately after I read the last sentence. And so it said he, and I was like, well, that fucking explains it, doesn't it?
Only a male author would end a book that abruptly.
Yeah, I was like, dude, are you serious? So many unanswered questions? This is the bullshit. And then, so he writes romance, but he also writes sci-fi.
Oh, cool.
Which I feel like is
cool.
That. Yeah. So now I kind of want to read one of his sci-fi books and see, like, how different they are. I'm always curious about that with authors that write, like, in multiple genres.
Yes.
Yeah, like, is there as much humor in his sci-fi?
Or does the writing style just change completely? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So I kind of want to read one of his sci-fi books now. I feel like
that would be
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Also, I thought it was really cool that he answered me on Instagram.
Yeah.
I was so surprised. I just
God.
commented to comment because I was like, he announced that Husband Material, and so I was just like, congrats, and and he answered me
talking about your book on
I was like, congrats, this is great news, we're gonna be talking about your book tomorrow, or about Boyfriend Material tomorrow. And he answered me back, and I was like, oh my god.
You like low-key start sweating. You're like, what?
Oh my god.
What?
I was like, oh, I'm never commenting on another author's posts again.
Oh my god. That's so nice, though. though, that he did.
Yes,
and he was like, oh, cool, have fun. Like, that was nice.
Yeah. But I was like... not that I commented anything bad, obviously, so, like, I have nothing to regret, but I was like, I regret my decision. The anxiety.
The way that you just, like, panic when you get a response to something that you're not expecting a response to.
I did. When I saw that pop up, I definitely panicked. I was like, oh my god. What do I do?
Especially because it just says that, like, they commented, not what they said, and you're like, should I even look at it?
Yeah.
Should I even do that to myself? Or
the
should
anxiety
I just let it
hits
sit
you like
there?
a bus, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my god, what if they said something rude back to me? What if they don't
What if
want
they were
people
like-
talking about their book on a podcast?
Yeah. What if they were like, cool, nobody cares?
Yeah.
Like,
What
I'm
if-
sorry that I'm a small podcast. I'm just trying to make it, okay? I just want to talk about books to people. I don't know.
For sure.
Gosh, that's funny.
Okay. I don't know, I think that wraps up this episode.
I think
Are
so.
there any final thoughts that you want to add on the book?
I don't think so, except that I'm super excited for husband material, and I think
Same.
everybody should definitely go check out boyfriend material.
Yes.
And just get ready. When is it coming? Does it say when it's coming out?
I don't think there was a date announced.
Listen, I hope it comes out soon.
Yeah,
Because that was
so do
too
I.
much of like a cliffhanger situation for me to wait too long, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, same. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As always, thank you guys so much for listening to and supporting us. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch, of course. You'll find the links to all of our social media, as well as the links to all of our listening platforms on our website at msha.ke/inkdrinkers.
All right. Thanks everyone again for listening. We'll be back in 1 week now.
Yeah, 1 week.
1 week. Yes. So we will be back on the 26th.
Yep.
Yep. For our next episode, and we'll be talking about Honey Girl, which I'm super excited about.
Same. I cannot wait. We'll see y'all on the 26th.
All right. Bye.